Alright, hey everybody, I'm Todd Anderson here for StarCityGames.com doing a Magic Online video for you guys. Today we're going to be playing the Ad Nauseam deck that won the most recent Modern Open. Now, I really wanted to play Death Shadow, and I might actually play Death Shadow later in the week or next week, but for the most part, this deck just won a tournament and hasn't gotten a lot of spotlight on it. Now, Brad Nelson and I did talk at length about whether or not we should play something a little off the walls at the Players' Championship this year for Modern. Now, Brad had, a huge desire to play the Death Shadow aggro deck that we both ended up playing eventually, but we also thought there might be some value to playing a deck that was a little difficult to interact with. It was consistent, but maybe not the fastest combo deck in the format. Now, there are a lot faster decks in the Modern format. You're going to see your Cheerios decks. You're going to see, Infect, Affinity. Affinity not really, a combo deck per se, but can kill on turn 3 sometimes. But this deck's pretty rarely going to be winning on turn 3. We will have draws that occasionally have Pentad Prism, that lets you ramp into Ad Nauseam and then a Simian Spear Guide. Plus, the Angel's Grace is going to let you kill him on turn 3, but those are super rare. For the most part, we're looking to usually go off on like turn 4 with a Lotus Bloom. The core of the deck, as those of you probably already know, is the card Ad Nauseam. Now, normally this would have a pretty significant drawback of killing you. You want to draw as many cards as possible with it. We've seen this card a lot in Legacy in the Storm decks, just as a way to draw a bunch of cards and usually kill your opponent with Storm. Now, in Modern, there aren't really that many good Storm cards. We don't have Tendrils of Agony. We don't even really have that many Ritual effects. A lot of them have been banned. And because of that, we're not really a Storm deck. But we are playing Lightning Storm as our kill condition. Now, the real core of the deck, though, is the Ad Nauseam alongside either Angel's Grace, which keeps you from dying until the end of turn, which means you can go to a negative life total, drawing basically your entire deck. Then it also works really well with Fire Extinct Unlife. The same thing happens. You don't die for being at 0 or less life. So an Ad Nauseam is going to let you go to negative life, and it doesn't deal you damage. So... and on the first time that you start losing life, I know it says, as long as you have 0 or less life, all damage is dealt to you as though its sources had infect. But Ad Nauseam is life loss. So we don't actually take poison counters from it. So we can actually go to like negative 60 or however much it is to go all the way to draw your whole deck. Now, the rest of the deck is just trying to either fight through various annoyances from the opponent. Like you can see, we have 3 copies of Pact and Negation, even 1 copy of Slaughter Pact. This is to kill stuff like Aethysworn Canonist, Gaddock Teague, random creatures that may be problematic at certain spots in the game. Eidolon of Rhetoric being one of the bigger ones out of the Kiki core decks. As for the rest of the deck, we have 4 copies of Sleight of Hand and Serum Visions, 3 copies of Peer Through Depths to help make our combo a little more consistent. Like I've already talked about, we have Pentad Prism and Lotus Bloom to ramp. 1 copy of Mystical Teachings is a little odd to me. It kind of acts like a 5th copy of Ad Nauseam or Angel's Grace. But in a pinch, it can go get Pact of Negation, then lets you untap. Go for your combo with a Pact of Negation protection on backup. Yeah, that's basically the deck. The sideboard, we have 4 copies of Leyline of Sanctity to help protect ourselves from discard spells. With all of the Death Shadow decks playing a ton of discard, this card's actually pretty good against them. Fatal Push, good against aggressive strategies, lets us kill some hate creatures for cheap. 1 Damnation lets us sweep up stuff. Timely buys us a lot of time against Burn. Disenchant can kill various hate cards. 4th, Pact of Negation seems like overkill. I feel like this is a card you either want in the main deck or you don't want it at all. 1 Echoing Truth, just more ways to get rid of hate cards. Hurkyl's Recall buys you a lot of time against Affinity, can bounce hate cards. And Laboratory Maniac for when your opponent can gain infinite life. These 2 copies of Darkness, not really sure what they're doing here. There might be a spot where I want to bring them in against like the, hyper-aggressive zoo decks that play, Burning Tree Emissary, the new Burning Tree Emissary, whose name I always forget, that has Revolt, and any of the Bushwhackers. So maybe you could just prevent 16 damage or whatever in 1 turn with the Darkness. I don't know. I haven't played this deck yet. This list is, let me look up his name before I look like a fool. I know I already look kind of silly. Apologies. I watched a lot of coverage this weekend, but I did not know Nicholas Bird. That's who played this deck originally in the Open to a victory. Yeah, the deck looks really clean. The one copy of Desperate Ritual just looks a little odd to me, but I think, you know, it is thought out. Pin-Tab Prism doesn't let you ramp that turn. It's kind of like a slow ramp spell, like a slow ritual rather. Desperate Ritual in a pinch can get you to the point where, you know, it lets you kill him that turn. You know, if you have enough mana, or if early in the game you have to burn 2 Simian Spirit Guides, it lets you still combo with Lightning Storm with only 2 Simian Spirit Guides. So I guess that's another thing. Yeah, mana base, fairly straightforward, 3 colors, Esper for the most part. We don't cast the red spells too often, but we do have ways to do so with Gemstone Mine, Lotus Bloom, and Pin-Tab Prism, as well as a Steam Vents here that we can fetch with our 3 fetch lands. You'll notice there's a lot of copies of Temple of Deceit and Temple of Enlightenment in this deck, and that actually just goes to show you that this deck is sacrificing speed in favor of consistency. You know, we're going to use these temples pretty often as ways to help dig for a combo in the early turns of the game, and just kind of hope that them coming in and play tap doesn't slow us down too much against some of the faster decks in the format. Alright guys, well, that is the deck tech for Ad Nauseam combo. Let's go ahead and get to some matches and see if we can win.